Today we'll explore more on SQL interview questions who will help out for the fresher as well as experienced professionals. Before we start, please like and subscribe and click the bell icon to get new video updates. What do you understand by word database? A database is a storage place for an organized group of structured data that can be properly stored, effortlessly accessed, effectively managed, and obtained digitally from the same PC, local network, or remote computer system. What are the significant factors to consider for designing a database? As per some factors like number of users, the volume of average data per year, the database design, and the complexity of the database could be planned and fixed up. While smaller-sized databases can be placed on a file system, larger databases are hosted on advanced and powerful computer system clusters or cloud storage devices. What is a DBMS? DBMS stands for Database Management System. A DBMS is system software that allows to create, retrieve, edit or update, and organize a database. It makes sure that the consistency of stored data and watches to it that it is organized and effortlessly obtainable by functioning as an interface between the database and its application software or end users. What is RDBMS? RDBMS stores data in the form of a group of multiple tables. The relationships are built by connecting the common fields of relevant tables. For example, MS SQL Server, MySQL, Oracle, IBM DB2, and Amazon Redshift are some examples of RDBMS. What is SQL? SQL, Structured Query Language, is a most ideal and crucial language for RDBMS and is valuable in managing organized data that contains entities or variables with proper relations through common columns between them. SQL is utilized for interaction or data manipulation with RDBMS databases. What is data manipulation? Data manipulation means creation, modification, and deletion of a database or a table. Also, SQL is used for searching and reporting data from databases. What is normalization? Normalization is utilized in decreasing data redundancy and dependency by establishing multiple fields and tables in specific databases. It includes designing tables and building relationships between the same tables as per certain rules. The redundancy and unpredictable dependency can be eliminated by applying these rules to turn normalization more adaptable. What is denormalization? In denormalization, the redundant data is enriched to make complex queries faster that have multiple tables and those ought to be joined. Improvement of the readability of a database is endeavored by adding or grouping repetitive copies of data. What are joins in SQL? Joins in SQL play in a combination of rows from two or more data tables containing relevant columns between them. Different types of joins are implemented in databases to obtain data, which depend on the requirement of reporting and the relationship between tables. What are the major applications of SQL? Following are the major applications of SQL. 1. Writing SQL data integration scripts. 2. Setting and running database analytical queries. 3. Obtaining subsets of data within a database for analytical applications and transaction processes. 4. Inserting, updating, and eliminating rows and columns of data in a table. What is a constraint in SQL? Generally, SQL constraints are utilized to apply some type of rules for data processing and restrict the data type at the time of adding or altering a table. What is a default constraint in SQL? A default constraint in SQL is utilized to establish a default value for a specific column so that it is added to all new data if no other value is mentioned. For instance, if we assign a default constraint for the s_fees column in the following table and set the default value to 1200, then all the data of this column will contain the default value of 1200 unless no more value has been assigned at the time of the inserting function. What is a unique constraint? The unique constraints in SQL make sure that all the values entered in a column are different and it doesn't allow duplicate records. How can we assign unique constraint? If we assign a unique constraint to the s_name column in the following table, then each entry in this column should possess a unique value. Steps. First, we have to create a table named stu1. Create table stu1, s_id int unique, s_name varchar, 20. Now, we will add the records. What is a unique key? The key that can receive only a null value and cannot receive duplicate values is known as a unique key. A unique key assures that all columns and rows are unique. Write the difference between the primary key and the unique key. Both primary and unique keys carry unique values, but a primary key cannot contain a null value, while a unique key can contain. In a table, more than one primary key can't be applied, but multiple unique keys can be applied. What are the main subsets of SQL? The main subsets of SQL are Data Definition Language, DDL, Data Manipulation Language, DML, Data Control Language, DCL, and Transaction Control Language, TCL. How many types of indexes are available? Mainly three types of indexes are available as single-column indexes, composite column indexes, and unique indexes. What are entities and relationships? Entities. An entity can be a place, person, thing, or any detectable object for which data is stored in a database. For illustration, in a company database, the entities are employees, salaries, projects, etc. can be considered as entities. Relationships. A relationship is a link between two or more tables or entities. For illustration, in a college database, the student entity, subject entity, and department entities are correlated with each other. What are SQL operators? SQL operators in queries are the specific characters or keywords that perform certain functions or operations. The operators can be utilized within the where clause of SQL commands. The SQL operators search and obtain or filter the data as per a given condition. How many types of SQL operators are there? Mainly 6 types of SQL operators are found as follows. Arithmetic operators, logical operators, comparison operators, bitwise operators, compound operators, and string operators. What is data integrity? Data integrity is the confirmation of the exactness and consistency of data over its entire life cycle. It is a crucial aspect of the design, execution, and method of systems that store, process, or obtain data. Data integrity also specifies integrity constraints for implementing significant business rules on data when it is joined into a table or database or any application. What is a data warehouse? A data warehouse is a huge-size store of accumulated data, from a broad range of sources, within an organization. The data warehouse helps in reporting and driving business decisions. What is the utility of the floor function in SQL Server? The floor function in SQL assists in obtaining the largest integer value to a specific number, that might be equal or lesser. What is clustered index? This index is used to sort the data rows by their adequate values. A clustered index is similar to the contents in pages of a phone book. Since the data is placed next to each other, the clustered index helps a lot in retrieving the data based on particular range-based queries. A clustered index truly displays an arrangement of data, and only one clustered index is available per single table. What is a non-clustered index? This index keeps data at one location and indexes at a different location. The index has pointers that target the right location of the data. Since the non-clustered indexes are placed in a separate place, more than one non-clustered index can be applied to a table. What is CDC in SQL Server? CDC, Change Data Capture, catches activity in SQL Server table such as insert, update, and delete. It records modifications in SQL Server tables in an understandable format. What do you mean by ACID property of a database? ACID is meant for atomicity, consistency, isolation, and durability. ACID properties are utilized to assess the reliability of database transactions. What is the atomicity property of the database? Atomicity property refers to the finalized of failed transactions, where a single transaction on data occurs. This property states that if any element of a transaction fails, the entire transaction fails and the database status is unchanged. What is the consistency property of the database? Consistency refers to the successful passing of all validation rules by data because each transaction leaves the database with proper accomplishment. What is the isolation property of the database? The isolation property has the main object of concurrency management in the database. What is the durability property of the database? The durability makes sure that once a transaction is completed, it occurs regardless of what arises in between, such as a power breakdown, fire, or some other type of disturbance. What is the use of group functions in SQL? Most of the group functions conduct on a number of rows and return a distinct result for every group. Count, sum, max, min, variance, comma, and avg are some of the most frequently conducted group functions. Write down the difference between drop and truncate commands. Drop. If we drop a table, all things linked with the same table are dropped as well. This includes the relationships made on the table with other tables, access authority, and permission. To create and get the table used again in its original structure, all the elements related to the table must be redefined. Truncate. Nevertheless, if a table gets truncated, there are no such issues as given above. The table preserves its original pattern. Define trigger in SQL. The trigger is an automatic procedure or function that occurs with occurrence of an event within the database server. It assists in retaining the integrity of the table. The trigger gets activated when the SQL commands, such as insert, delete, and update. Where are usernames and passwords stored in SQL Server? In the sqlinterviewquestions table of main database in SQL Server, the usernames and passwords are stored. What are the kinds of relationships between databases in RDBMS SQL Server? As we know, relationships are developed by interconnecting the column of two tables. Mainly, three various types of relationships are used regularly, which are given below. 1. One-to-one relationship. 2. Many-to-many relationship. 3. Many-to-one relationship. How can you manage exceptions in SQL Server? The exception can be controlled by try and catch blocks. Place the SQL statement in the try block and write the desired code in the catch block to control the expectations. If any error occurs in the code in the try block, then the control will automatically shift to that catch block. How many SQL authentication modes are there? And, what are they? The two authentication modes in SQL Server are Windows Authentication Mode and Mixed Mode. Windows Authentication Mode facilitates authentication for Windows but not for SQL Server. Mixed Mode permits both types of authentication, Windows and SQL Server. Write about function in SQL Server. Generally, a function is a database object in SQL Server. A function is usually a set of SQL statements that permit input parameters, conduct processing, and return outcome only. However, a function can only provide a single value or table of outcome, where the insert, delete, and update ability of records in tables is not available. What types of replication are in SQL Server? Mainly, three types of replications are available. 1. Snapshot replication. 2. Merge replication. 3. Transactional replication. Write about SQL Server Agent. SQL Server Agent plays a significant role in the regular operation of SQL Server Database Administrators or DBAs. The focus of the server agent is to effortlessly carry out tasks utilizing a scheduler engine that facilitates the tasks to be accomplished at planned times. SQL Server Agent utilizes SQL Server to get stored the planned management task data. Which tables are called magic tables in SQL Server? A magic table is a temporary logical table that is formulated by an SQL server for various tasks such as insert, update, and delete (DML) operations. The recent operations conducted on the rows are stored automatically in magic tables. Magic tables are not physically available in SQL Server. The magic tables are just provisional internal tables. Here is explained full about DDL versus DML. What are views? Views are virtual tables that displays the extracted data from the tables as per our requirement. Views are only the result set of an SQL query that has a particular name given to it. As views are not physically available, they take less space to get stored. What are types of views in SQL? Explain each type of views. In SQL, the views are categorized into 4 types as follows. Simple view, a view that is based on a single table and does not have a group by clause or other features. Complex view, a view that is built from several tables and includes a group by clause as well as functions. Inline view, a view that is built on a subquery in the from clause, which provides a temporary table and simplifies a complicated query. Materialized view, a view that saves both the definition and the details. It builds data replicas by physically preserving them. What is a stored procedure? A stored procedure is a set of SQL query that can be saved for future reuse purpose. However, a stored procedure is a function that consists of number of SQL statements to interact with the database system. We can centralize various SQL statements into a stored procedure and run them requirements. Explain stored procedure. A stored procedure can be utilized as a medium of modular programming, i.e., a stored procedure needs to be created once, saved or stored, and can be called or run any time as per requirements. What is a temporary table? A temporary table assists us store and process some outcomes temporarily. The temporary tables are developed and can be deleted automatically when they are no longer utilized. They are very valuable in areas where temporary data needs to be sheltered for some time being. What is OLTP? OLTP, Online Transaction Processing, is a type of software application that is valuable for endorsing transaction-oriented programs. What is OLAP? OLAP, Online Analytical Processing, is a type of software programs that are recognized by an approximately lower regularity of online transactions. Find the difference between OLAP and OLTP. OLAP, for this system, the performance of computing relies on the response time. So, such systems are basically utilized for data mining, web scraping, retaining aggregated past data, and they are generally utilized in multidimensional schemas. OLTP, it helps to carry on the consistency. Usually, the OLTP system attends decentralized methods to avoid any single failure. This system is basically constructed for a large range of end users to conduct short transactions. These queries implicated in such databases are basically simple, need quick response time, and return only a few records. Hence, the quantity of transactions per second behaves as a significant measure for those systems. What is hybrid OLAP? Hybrid OLAP, HOLAP, combines the multidimensional data patterns and relational tables of database to store multidimensional data. The accumulations for a HOLAP partition are stocked by analysis services in a multidimensional pattern. All the evidences are kept in a relational database. What is a database cursor? A database cursor is a supervision in database that permits you to drive around a table, i.e., rows or documents. You can consider it as a pointer for a specific row in a set of rows. However, the cursors are incredibly valuable for database traversal procedures such as insertion, extraction, and removal. How between operator is different from IN operator in SQL. In SQL, the between operator represents rows based on a set of specific values, text, numbers, or dates. The between operator retrieves the total number of values that appears between two specific ranges. The IN operator helps in searching the values within a specific range of values. If we have possessed more than one value to select from, then IN operator is used. What are the 5 common mistakes in SQL? 5 common mistakes are as follows. 1. Misspelling commands. 2. Using case-sensitive names. 3. Writing an invalid statement order. 4. Ignoring quotes and brackets. 5. Table aliases omitted. How to solve error of omitting table aliases. Creating table aliases is a prominent practice at the time of joining table. These aliases differentiate among columns with the same name in the tables, thus the database will come to know which column values to provide. It is not necessary when we're joining various tables, since we can utilize the entire table names. But it is necessary to create table alias if we conduct a self-join for a table. What is SQL tuning set, STS? SQL tuning set, STS, is a database object which can be utilized as input to tuning tools. It helps in the improvement of database query performance.